Yeah. So welcome. We just want to welcome you to Kingdom Empowerment for You. This channel is all about encouraging you, empowering you, and helping you find your voice. And we are just super excited about getting this channel started because we're going to have interviews, we're going to have teachings, we're going to have words of encouragement. We really just want to build an online community of people that just want to grow in their relationship with Jesus. And today I have got the most awesome guest. He's more than a guest, he is a friend, and not only that, but I work with Pete, and the world out there needs to know how great of a fellow this guy is. And we a couple of months ago started a sibling channel called Sacred Rest Moments, which is a soaking channel. And we've also done some online challenges together. And this is our next venture, is to start up this Kingdom Empowerment for You channel. So what better than to start off Kingdom Conversations with Pete himself. So Pete, it's so great to have you.
Delightful to be here. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, show us some fire in the comments if you can actually hear us. That'll be amazing. Hi Theo, so great to have you with us. So Pete, let's just jump right into it. Can you tell the viewers a little bit about your story, like how you came to know Jesus and how you decided to follow Jesus?
I certainly can. I think music was a big part of it, really. I grew up in a Christian family, and I don't think there was any, I had a great childhood. You know what I mean? It was things were good. I didn't know of really much troubles. I don't think, apart from, I guess, falling over and hurting myself and that sort of thing. My parents are pretty consistent. I was very fortunate in that regard. And at some point, I think it was the two prongs of youth group and music. And, church always being a thing, but I never wanted to go. You know how it is. You never want to go. It's like, oh, it's my parents' thing. I have to go stand around and listen to my parents' friends. I want to go home and play with my Lego. It's whatever it is. There's that phase that we all have. But there were, these two prongs of, I think, music and the youth group. And God really spoke to me through those things. And there was a point where I think you just come to places in life, even when you're, teenage and below, where you go, oh, this, I'm sort of, I feel like I'm being encouraged to do things that aren't this thing that my parents do, this Christian thing. What do I do? And I'm the sort of person that even at that age went, well, am I in or am I out? If I'm going to do this whole Jesus thing, I should probably just do it. And then I just went, okay, I guess I'll be in then. So I just did it. And it's that very small step, and Jesus just found me in that step and went, oh great, well here you can have all of this stuff. And all sorts of things changed about me. I was quite shy, and maybe not shy is not quite the right word, but quiet, reserved. And now here we are, doing a live stream and all of that. Now I have a very loud laugh, a very prominent voice. Lots of people tell me I found my voice when in that moment without knowing it, where I just said, yeah, all right, I'm in. I'm in for this Jesus thing. And that was kind of it, really.
Awesome. So you are a professional drummer. Can you tell us a little bit about your music career and where you are now, like a little bit of your journey?
Yes, very much so. Career is a funny word, isn't it? And drumming is something I always loved. I picked up a form one day in school, came home to my parents and said, oh, they're doing music lessons, can I learn drums? And they were, yeah, okay, sure. So drumming had just always been this thing that was fun. And I never really had this idea that anyone would pay me for it necessarily. but I think I just kept being pointed back to it. And, you know, you learn that God gives you passions and pursuits, and you can pursue them, and it's okay. It's not irresponsible. So I went, yeah, it's not irresponsible to love drums. So at every stage there was a new opportunity or a new level up. You know, it's like sixth form. Okay, yeah, I'll study music. Yeah, I like music. And then all these bands and things. Okay, yeah, I'll do all this. You know, it seems to bless people. It's great. I really enjoy it. And then university. Oh, do I go to university? I don't know. But if I did, would I study music? Yeah, actually, yeah, I guess I would. So drumming was always like fun. And I just kept doing it. I think it was one of those things. And when I left education, as you do, and you go, oh, what do I do now, God? God very, very kindly ushered me into London, even though really in terms of worldliness, I was very wise in other ways, but I don't think I was ready for just making money and how the world worked and freelancing. But I knew that. And sometimes when you know you're not ready for something, you can't really get ready except by just accepting that you're not ready and doing it. So there was a lot of conversation about that. And I moved to London with some uni friends, and, you know, we had a very, very small, very, very cheap house. It was a classic musicians, artists kind of, I mean, we affectionately called it a hovel. It was actually quite nice, but you know what I mean? It had that, like, just young kids, just come to the big city, fulfill their dreams. It had that kind of vibe to it. And it was a lot of fun. But I think if you're just around something enough, you just keep doing it, whether it's, like, all you do, whether it's all you make your money from. But if you're serious enough about something, it just kind of soaks into you. And that's what I found with music. Because it was more than just drumming, really. It was music as a whole, and composition and songwriting. And I found that also with God as well, where uni was a time that was quite busy and full of you know, study and things and all these things that are good. But I came out of it going, yeah, that was good for a season, but I really need, like, man, I really need to, like, basically just go to a church and play music, and that's all I need. That's all I've got time for. I need to, like, just do this so dedicatedly. And I think those were the two things that I was just privileged to be around, and they just kept going. So it you know, I did some tours and things like that, and have a couple of bands, and yeah, it's just all been really fun. Nothing, you know, like big and headlining and major, but that wasn't why I was doing it. And it's yeah, God has enabled it to be sustainable, and what a wonderful thing.
Pete is incredibly humble. He is an amazing drummer. I've seen him live, and, you know, I've been in bands and I've seen drummers, and Pete definitely has a gift at drumming, and it's just amazing. Can you let people know, like, what happens, like, you know, why you've had to stop drumming and now you've stepped into producing? Like, can you let people know a little bit about, that part of your journey so far?
That is an interesting one, because I haven't stopped drumming as such, but I was beset by a strange ailment, I suppose, some kind of chronic pain thing. And initially, the obvious thing you think of or you wonder is, oh, maybe this is, you know, you're basically a professional athlete in some ways. Maybe this is just a bit of strain, or you've overdone it, or, you know, like, do some physio exercises. But it turned out that it wasn't that, and all of that kind of made things worse. And it was just some sort of mystery chronic pain, which I still have, and it's still a mystery. No one has solved it yet. So it's a funny thing, because I can still drum, but that lifestyle of touring and always moving and going around and lifting things like that I very much cannot do. I need a few days inside per week just to. So it's a funny one, because if you know Jasmine or I, we're all about healing and miracles, and we've seen all that stuff, but it's the journey as well. It's not always as fast as we would like, but it's very interesting what God will grow from these circumstances. When you look back on it, because what that meant was that I suddenly had a lot of work that I went, I'm not going to do that anymore, and I suddenly had thought, well, what can I do? Basically, I think I need to sit down a lot while I recover from whatever this is, or while the doctors figure it out, or while we pray into it and all of that. What can I do while I'm sitting down? Oh, I guess I could make music, like it's mostly on a computer now. Maybe I had no idea about any of that. I literally knew nothing, but I went, maybe I can figure it out. Let's see what happens. But now it seems like that God used that in a real move of him, because I think it's one of those things, isn't it? Without blowing my own trumpet, as they say, I think I learned or became proficient a lot faster than is common, and God put me in contact with really good learning and teaching resources, because it's quite complicated, as it turns out. You have this nice idea, and it's like any creative thing, you go, oh yeah, it's going to be like this, and then you try and force it out into the real world, and it's just actually I can't do that. Oh no, I don't know how to do this either. I can't achieve that. Oh, it just doesn't sound like I thought it would. But then that's part of the fun of creativity. So I definitely, if you create in any way, which is a broader term than I think we often imagine it is. If you create in any way, I would definitely say to you, it's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect first time. And if it isn't like you imagine, maybe that's good. That's part of the process. The process is you don't actually know what it's going to turn out like. But if you kind of surrender to God and go with it, wonderful things can happen. So that's sort of where I am now. I've kind of transitioned from, I guess, full-time drumming to, pretty much full-time producing. So I still drum, I still have a band or two, but it's all gone a lot more kind of studio-based.
Cool. I love hearing your story. So what does the words kingdom and rest mean to you? Because we throw out these words like kingdom, but what does the word kingdom mean to you, and how is the word rest? What does the word rest mean to you now?
I keep doing this a lot. They're kind of wrapped up in each other, I think. So kingdom, the kingdom of God, the kingdom of heaven, it's almost like a filter that you have over your whole vision. That's how I would describe it. And that's the more you go with God, and the more you sit next to God, if you like, the more you start to see with that filter, and the more you realize it's not a filter. You had a filter beforehand, and now your eyes are being cleaned. So it's almost like you can be living, and you can look around and say, these things are happening, and I don't know about that. And in my case, I have this bizarre, painful, chronic pain thing that no one can figure out, and that is with me all the time. But then you don't live there. You live in this other thing that God has given you. It's where He lives, and we live in the in-between times. But spiritually, we have a lot of access to that because of what Jesus has done. So kingdom is, I think, is that. It's almost like the cleansing of your vision, if you like, and where you live in comparison to what's going on, and how you act and react. And then rest is what comes out of that, because if you can be in that place no matter what's happening, as Jesus modeled, perfectly, obviously, if you can be in that place, then you will be at rest. It doesn't mean you sort of have no emotions. It sometimes gets confused with that, and you're only at rest if you're really calm, or if you're not doing anything. I think it's become a lot more than that, because obviously now I need physical rest, but actually my rest is much more than just me sitting down or lying down, because I could be resting my body but just really worrying about the future, or how am I going to make money now, my livelihood. So they kind of they wrap up together, and I'm not here also saying, well, yes, that's how it is for me. Everything's great. I've got it all figured out. I'll tell you how not to worry. It's an ongoing thing, and we stand in it together, don't we? And that's that's part of the deal. But yeah, that's kingdom and rest for me. They're kind of together. It's how you're enabled to see more clearly despite what's happening.
Wow. And as you're sharing that, that's such an amazing concept. How could someone possibly that's watching this step into that? Like, if they're like, yeah, I want to see with kingdom through that lens. How is there anything practically that you could share that could help anyone watching tonight?
Yeah, it's the practical stuff, isn't it? Because I think it all seems quite abstract, especially even when you're a young Christian and something has like literally happened inside of you, you know, spiritually and physically, and you know, you're like, oh, I feel different now. You might not quite clock it, you might not quite know what it is, but yeah, then that's there. But then there's things that we learn and things that we continue to go on and learn, and it's the practical side sometimes, isn't it, that we lose. So yes, I think for me it's being aware of God. So it's developing that idea that God is always there, Jesus is always with you, and there are little exercises you can do to just remember, because that would be my big one. I would say is that, you know, you forget, right? I forget. We were setting up this live stream earlier, and we came in with the idea we wanted to pray, and then we were like, oh wait, did we do everything right? Oh, let's just check. And I was a bit tired, and I couldn't quite remember if we needed to, you know, add something else to make it work. And we were like, and you know, but it's going, oh wait a minute. In those moments, just going, Jesus is there. Even if it's just like 5 seconds, you're like, oh, hey, Jesus. You know what I mean? Like, he's just with you. He is with you all the time. But sometimes we just get sucked into things, right? But it's not like a case of either or. You can do something chill, you know, you can watch TV, but you can also go, what do you think of this, Jesus? You know, what do you think of this thing I'm watching? Like, what do you think of what these people are doing? Like, you know, yeah, teach me. And that's the kind of thing that initially I didn't have any idea about. And it's that kind of closeness you can have with God that just sort of keeps you there. And you continually being refreshed, because even if it's not a time of, yes, I'm going to pray for an hour and I'm going to fast for a whole week, it's not that, you know, because there's no need, you know, there's no requirement to do any of those things. But the more we remember that God is there in our everyday, in the little moments, then the more I don't know, just the more rested we get, basically. He is the rest, and if we forget that he's there, then bad things happen, I suppose. And that's actually why Jasmine and I made this 3-step guide, which is videos and teaching all about that. It's the thing we give away for free, because we just want you to have it. And it's basically the little things of encouraging those steps where you're going through your everyday activities and you're doing this and that and the other, and then you can just even take 5 seconds and go, Jesus is with me. And, you know, and then you can carry on, because, you know, life is busy. We have stuff to do. God gives us stuff to do. But yeah, that's probably more full of practical things than I said right now. I believe we put the link in the description if that's something that you need. You're like kind of craving that rest, or you're like me, and like I was, you have that tendency to just sort of like drift off, and then yeah. So that's definitely something. The link's in the description if you want that, if you want like a bit of our teaching on that, because Jasmine also has an amazing story about how God brought her to rest and to understand rest. But yeah, that was it. You try and just every now and then go, oh, Jesus is with me. Even if you don't have time to, light candles and, get all your prayers out and all of that, you can just go, oh, Jesus is with me. God is here. And then carry on.
I love seeing your walk with God. Like, it's so great. Peter is like one of the most happiest people I know. He's always got a smile on his face. I've never seen Peter get grumpy ever, and or impatient, really. Like, it's incredible. And in his situation, there's this constant joy in his life, and I just see so much of God in him. You are an inspiration, Peter. And to end our time together, have you got like an encouraging word that you want to just, I mean, you've already encouraged already, but is there anything else that you'd just like to share quickly with those that are watching?
I would say, I think there is joy in consistency, and that's one of those things. It's not popular, it's not a buzzword, but if you're, if sometimes you just kind of go, what is life? I'm good with God, but everything's just a bit sort of like, nah, like what's going on? If there's ever any of those moments, then, and even if not, actually, like there's joy in things being very small and very low level. We live in a world that's all about sensation and this new thing and and check out this amazing story. We live in that world, right? But that you don't need that stuff. Just the normal everyday things. You reading your Bible every day even is like one of the most powerful things that you can do that will impact your life and everyone's life around you. And sometimes we lose consistency because we just, we go, oh, is this it? Or is, you know what I mean? Like, do you want more instructions? But, it's just one step after the other. Keep stepping the steps, because they are the steps that make up the whole journey, and the whole journey is a glorious one.
Awesome. Well, guys, we hope that you've enjoyed hanging out with us. Please please share the channel with your friends, and we can't wait to have more Kingdom conversations on here. And Pete, thank you so much for sharing part of your heart with us. We just want to say have a great evening, everybody, and God bless. So bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Done.